about profit. And so we're delighted to have a B team session at One Young World. And to do that, and what the B team are focused on is creating a plan B for the world of business, because the plan to date hasn't actually worked that well. And so what we're going to do is we're going to bring to the stage the B team leaders. If you can just scroll forward. So first up, let me introduce somebody who you've met, who's been a counsellor for the last couple of days. She's the CEO of the United Nations Foundation, Kathy Calvin. Now, next up, someone you haven't met at the summit yet, but somebody I think we've all seen, Puma do some really innovative and smart and clever stuff in terms of trying to drive business and that business to be more socially responsible. Jochen Zeitz in 2008 founded the Zeitz Foundation of Intercultural Ecosphere, safety to support creative, innovative and sustainable projects. He was the CEO, was named the CEO of Puma at the tender age, I think, of 32. He's now the Director of Caring and Chairman of the Board Sustainable Development. Things like the EP&L, which you all know about, was something he created at Puma. And he's also founded the B team with Sir Richard. So Jochen Zeitz. So Forbes calls our next leader one of the greenest and most powerful women in the world. Her Ariso group is putting its vision of doing good into practice in more than 40 countries. Please welcome Shari Ariso. Next up, somebody who did an amazing job yesterday talking about the importance of sleeping and gave us that wonderful advice that we had to sleep our way to the top, Arianna Huffington. There's an amazing company in Brazil that's doing huge amounts of work in terms of driving the cosmetics and the business world to a better place. Guilherme is one of the founders of Natura Cosméticos, a leading Brazilian company recognized as one of the absolute leaders, not just in Brazil, but globally in terms of sustainability. And I would love to welcome him to the stage. And finally, one of your favorite counsellors. We had one counsellor, Sir Bob, who's been with us for 4 years. Professor Yunus has been a counsellor every year for the last 4 years and is also a B team leader. So Kathy, over to you. Take it away.
Oh, you need it.
I need it. Oh, I guess I don't need it. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, get the pictures quickly. You all look so wide awake this morning. You must have taken Arianna's advice to heart. No drinking, no carousing, just getting to sleep. That's good. Well, thank you for including us today. We are happy to be here as the B team, and we'll talk about that. I think everybody in this room really understands that business has helped deliver huge quality of life improvements for many people in our society over the years. But we also know that these benefits have not always been shared equitably and have sometimes come at great cost to our planet and to our lives. We know inequalities have been growing in every country. We know that resource scarcity and degradation of our natural resources have been a growing problem everywhere. We know high unemployment, as we discussed yesterday, is rampant in many countries, particularly among young people. And we know that climate change from rising man-made gas emissions is threatening our planet and the very life upon which we depend. And finally, of course, corruption and weak governance remain persistent, pervasive problems, and they shackle our economic growth. So that's been Plan A. And the response, we hope, is the B team, which is why we're here. The B team is a group of 16 leaders from around the world who believe that the purpose of business is to be a driving force for social, environmental, and economic benefit. And we want you to join us in imagining a world in which business has the purpose of being fundamentally redefined, and that business leaders are judged by their contribution to people, planet, and profit, and not just the short-term bottom line. We think the key to this movement is that it's not just about fixing one problem at a time, but fundamentally rethinking the entire system. So whatever we do, we have to do at scale, and we have to do it together. So we may look like one old world up here, but we definitely need one young world to join us. So we look forward to talking to you today.
Thanks, Kathy. Not that old, I
Ah.
would hope at least. Well, anyway, I'm very excited to be here as a co-founder of the B team and as a leader myself. And I think all of us individually have tried to contribute to a better way of doing business during our lives, but realized that we really couldn't take those changes to scale. And that's why we formed the B team. We believe that collectively we can make a major contribution. We can individually continue to contribute, but we should come together as a voice to really express what business needs to be in the future. And for that purpose, we've gone out over the last year and really listened to hundreds of people around the world. We have talked to organizations, people that have done great things in their lives, but that may not have the collective voice that we can bring to them. So we've listened to all of you, and we want to listen to all of you here today to understand what it takes in order to really make business socially, environmentally, not just financially just and profitable. So from that point of view, we've defined 3 inaugural challenges that we think are key in order to really find transformative solutions that we can take to scale. And the 3 challenges are the future bottom line, a bottom line that is not just about financial profits, a bottom line that is looking at environmental impacts, that is looking at society as a whole and the impact of business on it, so that we are actually quantifying the impact that business has, not just from a pure profit point of view. We want to look at incentives, not just incentives of organizations and companies, but also how the framework itself can change in order to incentivize business to become more socially, environmentally, and not just financially just. And we want to look at the future of leadership, and that's where we are looking for your input today, because it takes leaders, it takes all of us here, it takes you as the future generation to really make a difference and make sure that although the framework may not be right, that we're getting this all to scale and to a tipping point so that business no longer just contributes to society as it has, but is really contributing in a better way, a way that our planet can live with, a way that our society can prosper with, and a way that is still returning some value to the shareholders. So that's what we're all about, and we look for your support and that you are scaling our message and become part of the B team. Thank you.
Well, I've already sort of talked to you about it, but I think in a nutshell, we have left it up to the politicians too much. We have left it up to the social sector. The business sector is an enormous sector, and if every single business in this world and every single entrepreneur and business person can turn their business into a force for good, can adopt one problem or 2 problems and get out there and tackle them, I think most of the problems in this world can be solved. And hopefully the B team can play a small role in that. Are we throwing it over to questions, or what's the plan? No, Shari.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Shari Ariso, the owner of the Ariso Group. It's a business and philanthropic group. I would like to talk about the future of leadership. The reason I joined the B team is because everyone in the B team really cares about our future. And our future is unified. It's all of our future. It's not just ours, the B team. It's all of our future. I've done a lot in my group, and I believe that together with the B team, we can really make an impact. We can make a difference, and we'd like to widen the circles. So I would like to open it up to a conversation, actually, and hear what you think, your comments, your questions of how you see the future of leadership, or if you have any questions that you'd like me to answer. Anybody?
I think you guys mentioned that we're going to go down to the mics and take the questions.
Okay. That's fine.
So
I'd like to make one other comment that for me, everyone can be a leader. I feel that everyone can be a leader in their own way, in their own circles of life, whatever field they're in. I do this in all of my businesses. I aim for purpose in each one of the businesses, values in all of the businesses, and I believe that each one can do this, each one in their own way, in their own field. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'm delighted to be back here today after a good night's sleep. I must say there is no starker contrast than coming here from New York, where we are all dealing with the consequences of a government shutdown that is a monument to monumental stupidity and the bankruptcy of leadership in politics, which we see all around the world. And to Richard's point, the reason why business needs to step up is not just because it should have done that anyway, but because there is a huge vacuum left by politicians. And so that's why I'm really excited to be part of the B team. And just to be very clear, we need a plan B because plan A has failed. And in the same way that we need a plan B for business, we need a plan B for leadership. We need to remember that leadership is really ultimately about seeing the icebergs before they hit the Titanic. And it's also about seeing possibilities where others only see problems. That's really the essence of being an entrepreneur, and of course, adding value. So your generation, are already doing that. I met so many of you yesterday, and I'm so inspired by the work you are doing in your communities to make a fundamental difference. But also, you see your businesses, those of you who are in business, differently than the old generation saw it, with a few honorable exceptions. They saw it as they're going to make money, and then they're going to give back to charity or their community. And now we are saying, let's have a plan B, where the work you are doing is also contributing to the community. You don't have to separate the two. So you can actually add, as Jochen said, both financial, social, and environmental value at the same time. You can take care of multiple bottom lines, the financial one as well as those that benefit multiple stakeholders. So this is a really very exciting transition. And in order to be able to be a great leader, you need to take care of yourselves, just to remind you of the message from yesterday. If you are burnt out, you are not going to be able to tap into your own wisdom as easily. You are not going to be able to come up with the innovative ideas, the disruptive ideas that the world needs right now in order to add value. So let me just end by quoting one of my favorite quotes from John Gardner. He said, what we have in front of us is some breathtaking opportunities disguised as insoluble problems. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I am Guilherme Leal from Brazil, the country that, as you know, will be the highly expensive pleasure of welcoming Soccer World Cup next year. I'm also one of the founders of Natura Cosméticos, a Brazilian company that became 40 years ago as a garage company, and today provides opportunity of income for more than 1.5 million people. Natura is a 40 years company who has built his performance over values and the perception that we are all connected, and we can create a sound business if we don't create a sound society. And trying to apply in the day-by-day of our business in the last 30, 40 years, those principles, we got to create the Natura of today. My personal experience is that we cannot create a better world, a sustainable society, inclusive society, if we don't bring together a very socially and environmentally responsible business, a very active civil society, and transparent and committed governments. I think that we have a lot of reasons to do not believe that this is possible, but I don't believe that alone each of these sectors can get the results. So we are here as the B team to promote the business transformation and enhancement toward this contribution to a better society, but we need to be together with the other sectors being pushed to promote the change. I have been personally involved in these three sectors because I think, as all of you, as all of us, we have many possibilities, as have been said, to contribute to change. The challenge is huge, but we can have faith if each of us do your better to promote this change. I would love to hear from you how we could collaborate to put all the sectors promoting the change, to eliminate poverty, to include all members of this huge human community in a condition that we can be proud of. I am really looking forward, listening for you, the hope of change in a very concrete way. You are the hope of change, and I would like to hear from you how we can collaborate to promote this change. Thank you.
Well, it's my turn now. I'm Muhammad Yunus from Bangladesh. I got into B team because I come from sort of another end of the business world. I started building businesses for the sole purpose of solving problems with no intention of making personal profit out of it. So it's a kind of world which is quite different from the personal profit-driven company which we call business today. So in my work, I have removed that whole work idea of making personal profit. So it's dedicated to solving problems. If we bring the business idea in solving problems, I see it gets done so easily, so effectively, and so sustainably. Because once you can do that, then you can keep on adding to it, keep on replicating it, making additions to it. So you can ultimately solve all the problems in the world. So while personal profit-driven companies are sort of driven by selfish motives, the one that I'm trying to promote is a selflessness-driven companies. You are not interested in personally gaining financially from the company, but you are solving the problem that you see is so standing right in front of you. You want to do something about it. And young people can do it very well because they have the creative power. And all this creative power can be engaged in solving the problem that you see in front of you. And it doesn't take a lot of money. All you have to do, create a small company to solve a small slice of the problem. Maybe it takes $10,000, maybe $15,000, maybe $50,000. But you can make that company running as a sustainable way, in the meantime solving the problem of unemployment, problem of poverty, problem of environment, you name it. All you bring is the creative capacity of thinking of a business idea, how to address that. Businesses have enormous creative power. The businesses that exist today, all the creative power basically is under the control, under the periphery of the business world itself. And it has a tremendous amount of technology at its command. But unfortunately, all this technology, all this creative power is used in making profit for the company. But I'm suggesting that if we bring this creative power and bring this technology, which you have a lot of this, if you bring this technology to solve problems, all these problems can be solved right away. It's just taking one step after another step. So if we can start that idea, what we are now calling social business, non-dividend company to solve human problems. So I'm talking about a new class of business. If that fits into the whole world of business, that's great, because I'm not opposed to profit-making business. So you can make profit-making business. At the same time, you can carry on with the social business, non-dividend companies, where you are focused only in doing the in solving problems. So it's a parallel world rather than just one type of business world. So from one type of business world, I'm talking about two kinds of business world, where one is personal profit-driven company, another is not for personal profit-driven motive, but for solving problems, exclusively dedicated to solving problems. Then you see the effectiveness of that business. It becomes tremendous power. And with that power, we can create a completely new kind of world. We don't have to marginally or moving with the small steps to change the world. We can do a dramatic change in the whole world if we can enhance the scope of the social business as we do the profit-making business at the sideline. So we continue to do that. So that's what we'll be focusing on. I'll be inviting you to create this idea of social business. In social business, most important thing is the idea, not the money. You come up with the idea, and let's use this idea to change the world. That's the challenge for us.
So as the B team, we've defined a declaration that pretty much is our collective opinion of what needs to happen and what we believe is change that we all need to see in the world. But we are also very happy now to actually ask 3 ambassadors of One Young World up here on stage that have also prepared a charter in response to our declaration. And I'd like to ask 3 of you onto stage now. First, Charlie Oliver. And then, Charlie, where are you? Okay, that's Alan Mack. We changed the order anyway, that's good. And then Angela Jhanji and Charlie Oliver.
Good morning, everyone. The B team believes that businesses should exist for more than profit alone. Our view is that the B team's greatest strength will be their ability to influence, both through their own actions, but also because of their huge list of contacts in the business and political worlds. With that in mind, here's how we would like to see the B team lead others to a purpose beyond profit. First, the B team should create a new B team sustainability audit for large companies that is transparent, easy to understand, and available to everyone online. It must offer a fair comparison across industries. The B team should then campaign to make this the accepted corporate sustainability audit around the world. This will make a fresh start on identifying common areas where business needs to become more responsible in their energy use or social policies, for example. Right now, most companies set their own targets and measure them in different ways. This is not effective and can leave room for misinterpretation. We must be able to make direct comparisons across industries and measure progress with confidence. Otherwise, we will not progress effectively at all. Second, businesses represented amongst the B team should make publicly shared commitments this year, driven by bold CEO leadership. It's important that the B team makes an immediate impact. From there, they should create annual shared milestones to show they are leading by example. We believe it's crucial that something happens right away to get the immediate attention and draw interest in the B team's longer-term plans. One Young World 2014 in Dublin would be a great place to report back on that progress. I'm sure we'd all like to see you there. Right, guys? If these goals are actionable, then it would also create an opportunity for other like-minded businesses to follow. Finally, the B team's business should also look inwards to their supply chain. They should offer them the opportunity to participate in their sustainability activities. Many activities currently run by companies are scalable. Think Big School, run by my employer, Telefonica UK, is a great example of this. We go into high schools around the UK teaching students business and coding skills. With access to an even greater number of volunteers, with an even broader range of skills and expertise, our shared impact is even more significant. Overall, it's important to recognize that most big businesses are dependent on their supply chain and other third parties to operate successfully. It's no good, therefore, for one business to change whilst its partners do not. By including supply chain partners, resources could be shared and we would see greater collaboration in achieving a specific goal and a greater collective impact. It would also allow smaller companies to be more sustainable, as many are unlikely to have the financial resources to commit to a social investment of their own. Thank you.
Good morning, One Young World ambassadors. With the evolving marketplace, changing consumer behavior, and advancing technology, we believe the next frontier of disruptive innovation is collaboration. Today's FTSE 100 CEOs grew up in an era where capitalism was the way forward, and where the driving objective was stakeholder value. It was Milton Friedman who said, "The business of business is business." Today, priorities are shifting. Profit needs to align to purpose. If CEOs wish to have a greater influence on society and the environment, especially at scale, pace, and with greater impact, a new operating model and a longer-term view is needed. According to Accenture's UNGC CEO study published last month, only a third of CEOs believe business is doing enough to address global sustainability challenges. And we agree, right? The biggest issues facing our society are megatrends such as food, agriculture, society, natural resource scarcity, rapid urbanization. Organizations need to collaborate because they can't do this alone. They can't fail society, and we can't let them fail for us. And what do we mean by collaboration? Collaboration is working together on actioning your shared responsibility and industry values at a pre-competitive level. It's being willing to share your knowledge and assets, like GSK, for example, who are moving the dial by being the first in having published clinical trial data that has enabled sharing and learning in a completely new way. They've done the logical thing. They've done the right thing. They've done the transformative thing. It's Unilever, and they're a platform for open innovation which reaches out to partners to innovate ideas to help them achieve their ambition for their business and the communities in which they operate. So what are the gaps? Why are companies not doing this already, and what must they do? They must have shared intent. Companies need to work together to deliver change. Just like Havas Mexico and AXA, Nurses for Mexico, joint business venture we heard about earlier. CEOs need the brightest people striving to solve the world's biggest problems. They need to recruit and maintain the right people to encourage the right behaviors. Collaboration is a state of mind. CEOs also need to support frameworks and share best practices to move on from pilot paralysis. The habit of adopting small-scale projects that only have an incremental impact on sustainability. CEOs still seem to be prioritizing just advancing business success or improving the expectations of marketplace and stakeholders. This is preventing them to having an impact at a greater scale. They must also share data to help progress the follows and metrics. So therefore, our three recommendations are to create a platform within companies with the main purpose of driving collaboration efforts with a particular focus on scale and long-term impact, to utilize young talent to drive cross-sector and cross-border collaboration, and to ensure all expansion into new markets is made sustainable through collaboration with local communities. So not to be cheeky, but Milton Friedman, if you don't mind, might I suggest that perhaps the business of business is not just business. Thank you.
third principle of our business charter is empowering young people and fostering next generation leadership. Today's businesses operate in the most complex, competitive, and fast-moving marketplace in human history, driven by globalization, technology, and a new generation of socially responsible consumers like all of you in the hall today. So in that context, empowering young leaders at the highest levels makes business sense for at least two reasons. Firstly, it prepares your business for the future because young people understand tomorrow's business landscape better than anyone else. The global financial crisis accelerated an already growing trend for business to be more transparent, more accountable, and more sustainable. Generation Y instinctively understands this new thinking and is best placed to help businesses adapt. As David Jones says, there's not been another time in history when the youngest people in the world have understood the most about what is going on. And secondly, empowering young people leads to better decision-making. Globalization has created an increasingly complicated decision-making environment, which requires the new skill sets and fresh perspectives that only Generation Y can provide. In today's marketplace, Generation Y can provide global outlook, digital awareness, and an understanding of the new responsible business culture. Businesses should make the most of this talent, and there are already some great examples amongst One Young World's sponsor companies. Havas, one of the world's leading advertising and digital services companies, has appointed 2 directors under the age of 30 to their board in the UK. This has been great for their business and even better for the young directors involved. I know because I'm one of them. It's been a widely admired example of a business securing its future. And elsewhere, Unilever has launched a youth board to advise management on key issues, whilst at Coutts Bank, One Young World ambassadors have created young leaders forums around the world to bring together the firm's young talent to hold management to account against the firm's CSR strategy. The B team can ensure even more progress is made. You have a unique opportunity to change the way that business is done forever by calling for the voices of young people to be heard at the very highest levels. And the 3 concrete actions that B team companies can take, including firstly appointing young employees to your boards to give them a real voice in corporate governance like Havas has done. Secondly, by creating platforms within your business where you can learn and listen from young people like Unilever. And thirdly, by using your young employees to hold your top management to account. The last 3 days have shown that young leaders have the ambition, the energy, and the ideas to make a difference, shape the future, and change the world. So let the message go out from this hall in Johannesburg that if you're good enough, you're old enough, that you don't have to be grey to get on. And it's only by empowering young people today that business can succeed tomorrow. Thank you.
So we're now going to take questions from the floor. Those of you who are up on the mics before who didn't get a chance, if you want to ask a question, we should put you up in that order. And then we're going to... Sorry? Probably half an hour, so probably 5 per mic. And then if some of our B team leaders would go and man the mics, so Professor Yunus, if you wouldn't mind taking the mic back there. Shari, maybe the mic back there. Kathy, the one at the front here. And then Jochen, maybe you go down here at the front. And you just introduce the person, where they're from, and they can ask their question.
Pleasure. Where's the... Oh, he's there.
The mic, well, there's one back there. So, Professor Yunus, do you want to...
First, state your name and tell which country you're from. Okay. And make your question very short. Thank you. My name is Moketsi Benedict Tekere from Botswana. My question is that I think Africa has just recently woken up to the need for education reform and entrepreneurship. What 3 commitments are the B team and the One Young World willing to do out of this summit for all the young African leaders that are here to make sure that there's impact in what we would like to achieve? Thank you very much.
I don't know if we want to save and do answers afterwards and go round, do it like we usually do, or if, yeah. So that's next mic.
Okay. Hi, my name is Hani Ogundeyi. I'm from Nigeria. I had this question for Sir Richard. So I'm very interested in entrepreneurism. But of someone who's been working sort of in a professional organization all my life, that's also a very difficult decision to just do it. I wanted to talk to you about your business venture in Nigeria, knowing that sometimes when there's good ideas like yours had, and there's still a lot of opportunity, why is it that some cases, some ventures don't still work out? So specifically, I'm talking about the case of Virgin Nigeria, and I still think there's a lot of opportunity in the airline space.
Right. Shari?
We have Eduardo here from Italy.
Hi everyone. Well, if I could summarize with one word this One Young World Summit, probably I would say action. Take action. That's why I'm here right now. My question is for Sir Richard Branson. Well, I've been working in the past years in Southeast Asia and East Africa. I work in developing countries made me realize that one of the main problems that prevent the natural development of a country is the lack of access to energy. So the idea of running every corner of this planet by a set of clean, endless, and always available source of energy, it really made me click. I know a lot about renewables. That's why I found, with 2 other business partners, the Green Energy Journal, a newspaper where I could share my knowledge and my ideas with others. I developed renewable models that can be sustainable and not only environmentally, but also economically.
Kate's moving in to speed you up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me finish. I've been waiting for a week for this question. Thank you. Because I've seen, with my eyes, well, environmentally from the point of view, like I've been watching with my eyes, that how to provide energy, effectively to a lot of villages off-grid. The only way is with renewables energy. Economically, using effectively the latest technology and also using wisely the subsidies of the government. So, my idea is, is this. Yeah.
And the question is?
My idea is to create with you, Richard, a branch of Virgin focused on renewable energies. I thought last night about the name, and we're gonna call it Virgin Green Power. Well, hold on. I really believe in this.
You've got to be fair to everyone else, because we have a lot of people on the mic. So if we go to Jochen's mic,
my question
please.
is, if I can further speak, 47 seconds with Richard.
Okay, so Richard's going to kick off with an answer.
Those two, and then somebody. No, look, I like the name, and congratulations on the pitch. And I mean, the exciting thing at the moment is that solar, the prices of solar energy has collapsed to about the same price as coal. And therefore, since solar is so much cleaner and wind is so much cleaner, we've got to try to move the world to a world of clean energy. And one of the things the B team will be doing is trying to lobby governments to stop subsidizing dirty fuel, because hundreds of billions and billions are given to the coal companies and the oil companies from the governments. And if they can just get rid of those subsidies, it means that your business, or whatever it's going to be called, has a real chance of getting going. Do you want to do the Nigeria question while I'm here? Look, on Nigeria is a country, where are you? Stand up a minute, I lost you. There we are. Full of entrepreneurial, wonderful people. It has not had good leadership, sadly. We were asked to set up an airline inside Nigeria by the government there. We had strict understanding what the rules were, and suddenly somebody owned the terminal the other side. They wanted half of our airline to move there. The domestic there, the long haul the other side. And people came in with sledgehammers and they smashed, our check-in desks and our lounges up. And we said, thank you, we're not going to operate in a country that behaves like that. We'll come back, once you have honest, good leaders. And as I said earlier, we just got to campaign for honest, good leaders in every country. And Nigerians deserve it. I mean, they're great people. They deserve great leaders.
Jochen, let's do 3 quick questions.
Yeah, another question for Richard from Justine from France.
Could somebody answer the first question first? One of these, Arianna or somebody, who was the very
question about Africa.
Africa.
So obviously, You know, that's a huge question, and it's going to take, I think the key here is what Angela said about collaboration, that these problems are not going to be solved by one sector alone, but that's where young people can play a very, very prominent role, because you can see the opportunities for collaboration and bringing together all the different sectors to solve some of these problems which have been so entrenched for so long.
Great, thank you. Jochen.
Hello, Justine Grosso from France. So a question and a challenge for Mr. Branson. With the creation and the success of Virgin Galactic, the dream of going to space is and will be soon an option for our generation here. I believe that such power brings huge responsibilities. Sending people to space generates a lot of CO2 emissions. So how are you addressing this issue? And my challenge to you is, I challenge you to invite me to a trip to space when you will have developed a solution that will have 0% impact, zero impact on the environment.
My dream, ever since I saw the moon landing, has been to go to space. Governments were not really interested in you or me going to space. And only 500 astronauts have ever been to space in the history of space travel. They've gone to space in incredibly environmentally unfriendly spaceships, which cost $1.25 billion per flight to go into space, and about 2 weeks of the electricity supply of New York. So we set ourselves the challenge of building an affordable spaceship that ideally emitted no carbon emissions whatsoever. And we've got it down to being able to take people to space for less than the cost of an economy class ticket from Joburg to London. So it's almost there. So I think you'll be able to come to space without feeling guilty today, but we hope to make it zero soon. Space travel, apart from the wonderful experience of having people go there and looking back at this beautiful Earth and wanting to come back to protect this Earth, there are enormous things that can be done for this Earth by opening up space. So we can put, for instance, an array of 15,000 satellites Virgin Galactic could put up in space within 6 months. And you know, the kinds of things those satellites can do can transform the 3 billion people who haven't got access to internet or telephones, or people who are paying too much for access. There's radical things that can happen back here on Earth by commercializing space travel. And I promise you we'll do it in an environmentally friendly and fun way.
Hey, excellent. Professor Yunus.
Shall I go now, yeah? Sir Richard Branson, very nice to see you. My name is Faisal, I'm from Kuwait. If anything I can ask you for is if you could allow me to take a picture with you to show my mother in Kuwait.
Well, you go do that one. So I'll take the picture whilst we move to the next question. Kathy. And you're not all allowed to ask for a picture.
We have Buhari from Nigeria.
Thank you. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Ready?
All right. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Buhari from Nigeria, and I'm directing my question to Mrs. Ariso and Sir Richard. Should democracy be prescribed for every nation, despite its significant shortcomings, especially with 3 good examples? The situation in Egypt, that's still unfolding. The bottlenecks, especially from the opposition, constantly, especially in the US. The US shutdown is a very good example of that. and in Nigeria, where I come from. And finally, the lack of regard for existing political institutions and cultural hierarchies. And to Professor Yunus and Arianna, my question is this. Were our leaders always this bad? Not so long ago, I think, that they were also young and determined to change the world. So if this was true, where do you think they always go astray across Africa and across the world? And how can we as One Young World leaders ensure not to? Thank you.
Great question. Would one of the B team leaders like to answer that or comment?
Sure, I'll answer that. Shari?
Shari.
Yes, I believe that we should focus on good. There's a lot of challenges in the world, but I think if we focus on what we want to see in the world, and it doesn't matter if it's in politics and business and all circles of our lives, we should look at what we want to see our future to be, how we can get that future, and focus on growing the power of good within our circles. We started, for instance, with a very simple idea of Good Deeds Day. Everyone going out to do a good deed for the benefit of others. It started very small, and within 8 years, we're already in 50 different countries and spreading. I think if in every field, like I said earlier, you focus on purpose, you focus on what you want to see, in any field, we in banking, we educate our clients to make the right decisions so that if you have financial education, you can make better choices and prosper. In our infrastructure company, we focus on sustainability and we build sustainable. So I think really in anything that you do, and anyone here, if you find your passion, if you see what kind of change you want to make in the world, go out and do it. Go believe in what you believe in, and do it, but do it for good.
Excellent. Shari, do you want to introduce the...
Oh, thank you so much. My name is Calvin Jodisi. I'm from Kenya. I have one question to Sir Richard Branson. And first of all, I want to say that you really inspire me very, very much every time I see everything that you're doing. My question is this. Every time we are told that you need to focus on one particular thing that you're good at and do it perfectly, and focus on that particular area. But I see you as Virgin, you have you're doing many business. You know, you have Virgin Mobile and right now Virgin Galactic. How are you able to manage all those business, and yet you're told that you need just to focus on one particular thing and do it well?
He has a really good team. Democracy front, I think we do have to strive for democracy because in a democratic country, people are safer, the press is free. We need more press like Arianna Huffington, the Huffington Post does, which is serious. And not the kind of press that a lot of countries offer. But you know, fortunately, you know, the internet and the freedom of all of you being able to debate is compensating for some of the dreadful press we've all had to put up with for many years. So, you know, with all its faults, yes, I think we should strive for democracy on a global basis as best we can. As far as you know, specializing one area, I mean, yeah, all business schools do seem to teach you, you know, stick with your onions, don't, you know, and if I'd stuck with my onions, I would have been still being in record shops, which was my first business, and, you know, the record business has disappeared. So, actually by diversifying, it's been, you know, it's saved us. It's also been a lot more fun. I mean, by diversification, being a sort of way of life brand, rather than just specializing in one area, we've learned so much more. We've had a much fuller fun life. And I think as long as you're good at delegating, you can diversify. So find someone who knows, you know, how to build rockets to take people into space. Find somebody who can, you know, run an airline really well. Find somebody who's into music and can run your music company. You know, and give them the freedom to make mistakes as well as make good things. And you know, and it is possible to build a number of companies rather than just one. Good luck. Cheers.
Jochen, probably got time for 2 more questions.
Yeah, we have a question from Stan from Germany.
Thank you. I'm Stan Uschbel from Germany. Greetings, everyone. I want to be honest. I want to ask a question to Sir Richard. I had some challenges in my life which, like, I failed because of the wrong mindset. And watching your history, it was like you're the ultimate master of mindset. So my question in this regard is, how can I get a constant positive mindset regarding like very seemingly impossible challenges?
Arianna. Can we have Arianna's mic on, please?
First of all, I'm delighted to tell you that next Thursday we are launching the Huffington Post in Germany, so maybe you can blog about these issues. In terms of how to maintain a positive mindset, that's a really great question in terms of leadership. And the key here is to really constantly remember that despite all the obstacles, there is that place of strength and wisdom in you, and you can always go back to it and from that place create. And that failure is always part of any success. There is nobody here, there is nobody anywhere who has not failed multiple times along the way to success. So resilience and cultivating resilience is key here. And to your question about whether leaders were better in other times, one thing that is certain is that the best leaders always bring the best out in people. The best leaders know that they are not just leading themselves. They have to absolutely galvanize a sense of possibility in people. I mean, look at what Lincoln did and what he said when he talked about the better angels of our nature. We all have them in us. So leadership is partly about activating those better angels, both in ourselves and in everyone else.
And a final question from Professor Yunus's microphone, who's getting mobbed.
It's Claudia from Italy.
Hello, everyone. I work in the CSR department of a media company which is called Vivendi. And actually, it is a company that has put culture, that considers culture as being a pillar of sustainable development and has put culture at the heart of its own sustainable development policy, because we have a huge impact through our movies and music albums that we produce and distribute, so that we have to be accountable for the cultural impact we have on our audiences. So my question addresses to Sir Richard Branson and to Arianna Huffington as well. What do you think is the specific social responsibility of media and entertainment companies, and how can we hold these companies accountable for their brain print and in particular their cultural footprint?
Arianna, do you want to, maybe one for Kathy as well, that question, who has a background in media. So Arianna?
Well, I think the biggest responsibility of media companies is to put the spotlight on the good things happening and on what is working. I think we are all putting the spotlight on the evidence of corruption, of inefficiency, dysfunctionality, and we're going to continue doing that. But it's absolutely critical to tell the stories that are in this room, the stories of what is working, because that's what inspires others to replicate, to scale. So let me just end my part by reminding you that you have all been invited to tell your stories on the Huffington Post and to join the B team in this big effort to redefine what business is and to redefine what leadership is.
Did you have a comment, Kathy?
I'll make 3 quick comments from the questioners here who didn't get a chance. One had to do with building global brands. One had to do with government. We have a government leader here. And the third had to do with the investors who drive our short-term focus of business. So I think those are 3 important issues that they hope the B team will take up. I'll just add on the media question. So much good has happened in the last 10 years. We've halved maternal mortality. We've brought children's mortality down. We need all to talk about the solutions and the success as much as the problems.
Yeah, yeah. So if the B team leaders would like to come back up on stage. If you didn't get your question answered, do tweet it. I'm sure you'll be able to get an answer through social media. And now we want to vote on the charter. I think Kathy's going to read the charter out to us.
Well done, Shari.
This is big enough, I'm going to come on stage. I'm going to summarize it, but I want to make sure we picked up all the key issues because you guys made such strong suggestions for us to take on board this weekend and as we go forward. So here it goes. We, the One Young World 2013 delegation, call on the B team to incorporate the following principles and actions in their mission to transform business for the better. First, empowerment of young people and young employees. Second, purpose beyond profit. And third, collaboration as well as competition. As One Young World ambassadors, we resolve to strive to embed these principles in our own organizations and businesses so that global business can and will be transformed into a force for good. Together, along with the B team, we believe that we can overcome many challenges business faces today so that the next generation will not have to face them tomorrow. Excellent job.
Kathy. So this is the vote. You have your handsets. We're going to vote. We, the One Young World delegation, call on the B team to incorporate those principles and actions in their mission to transform business for the better. Are you, number one, for that, or number two, against that? Please vote now. %, overwhelmingly for. And I think, Guilherme and Professor Yunus, you just want to say a couple of words in summing up?
Yes. We, the B team, would like to thank you for the invitation to be with you here. And it's important to say that this is just the beginning of the process. We are going to be here in South Africa the next 3 days, considering all that you have said and thinking about how to incorporate those propositions to our business and to the actions of our group. It was really a great pleasure and a great inspiration to be with you because, as we said, you are the answers for the challenges that we are facing. We will be together trying to build this new and better world that we are looking for. Thank you.
Well, Richard says that it costs less than the economy class ticket from London to Johannesburg to go to the space. So the next One Young World convention, the summit would be in space.
Hey!
It's easy. So that
I'm afraid that's carbon cost, not physical cost.
Well, traveling carbon cost anyway. Yeah. So that's an exciting possibility. Let's think that way, that we can do lots of other things that we have been doing here. Talking about something is good. It finds very, very fascinating, very encouraging, inspiring. But the real thing, more inspiring, is getting it done. So that's why the Young World Summit is here. We are not just giving another series of nice words, nice inspirational speeches. It's about how to get ready to get things done on the ground, each one of us. And you are ready to do that. What do we do? One of the ideas that I was suggesting that you just think about an idea about solving a problem in a business way. You don't have to go and do it right away, but if you design it, itself is 80% of the work, because idea is the crux of the very essence of the whole thing. So come up with those ideas. We'll have a big idea show next time so that everybody has ideas and so on, and who knows, many of these ideas people will say, I would like to invest in it. Let's go ahead and do it. So that's what I think I will be appealing to you, that you go back, or you don't have to go back, even start from right now. You don't have to wait for tomorrow. You can start thinking what problem you'll be thinking about. Choose a problem among many problems that you have in mind. You heard already, each one is the most ugly problem that you can think about. Pick one of them. And as I said, take a thin slice of it, see if you can do something about it in a business way. In a charity way, in a philanthropy way, we can do that all the time. But the question is, it doesn't go far. But if you can do in a business way, then everything happens. You become the solver of the biggest problem in the world, just because you solved a thin slice of that problem. And that becomes a global solution. Thank you.
And a final word from Shari, I think.
First of all, I love your charter. It's totally in line with the B team. And I'd like to give you a tip, share with you something that we do. We've created in our organizations a cross forum. We have representatives from all of our companies, and I'm in finance, real estate, infrastructure, renewable energy, water, salt, many philanthropic organizations, and we have representatives, young people, not top management, not chairmen, board of directors. It's the middle employees that come together on top and beyond of their job to implement these values. I think it's very important for it to be practical. So we started with 7 representatives, one from each one of the companies and organizations. It's now 64 and rising because everyone wants to get involved. And like I said, it's beyond their day-to-day work. They come up with ideas, they implement these ideas, and then take it across the board to all the different companies and all the different organizations. How we took this further? Joining the B team. Our staffs, my staff, together with everyone else's staff, sit together to share ideas so that we can even pass it forward even further. So I think it's really important that besides having it, very important to have these ideas, but it's very important for it to be practical and be able to implement it. Thank you.
Thank you. A huge round of applause. Well, I'm going to hang on to Professor Yunus, and a huge round of applause for Jochen, Sir Richard, and the other B team leaders. Fantastic session. Thank you. See you.